I built my brand to 130,000 followers from scratch. And I wouldn't even call myself a content creator because I did the exact opposite of what every online guru tells you to do. They tell you to pick one thing, niche down, and just focus on the 10,000 hour rule, master your craft. But I did none of that. I just made one shift that changed everything in my life, that made everything come easier. Ideas started coming smooth like butter. I started reaching the people I wanted to. And most importantly for most of you, I started gaining followers almost uncontrollably. But in this video, I'm not going to give you some bold claim like get 10,000 followers in 10 days or something stupid. I'm going to tell you exactly how you should stop thinking like a content creator and start thinking like an artist, to start building a world that people actually want to be a part of. When I first started posting content, I followed what I thought was good advice at the time. I started copying viral trends, literally every trend I could find, and started focusing my whole life on being a good content creator to go viral on TikTok. I'd spend hours researching what other creators were doing, trying to copy it for my own growth. I'd study hooks and try every type of post format you could find, pattern interrupts, CTAs. My grades even started slipping because I was spending so much time thinking about content creation. And even despite all this, I made no progress. That's what makes content creation so daunting for a beginner that just wants to share their ideas. By the way, my name is Arav, and I help creatives like you to master creative thinking and build the brand of their dreams to set themselves free. But I didn't always have this expertise because the first time I started posting content was actually for my clothing brand. And I did expect growth to be slow because it was such a saturated market, but I didn't expect it to be this slow. I remember after posting my 50th video on TikTok that still got under 1,000 views, I sat on a bench outside and just felt helpless, wondering if the content wasn't the issue, it was just me, that I wasn't creative enough, that I didn't have it in me to build something. So I gave up. I went back to focusing on my studies, doing as my parents said and trying to get good grades. And maybe you can relate to that. You tried to build something, you tried to dedicate your life to something, but the results were too slow. And not only did you start to lose hope, but the people around you started to lose their support in you. And then you quietly went back to your projected path of mediocrity. But that's not the end of the story, of course not. And something did change. Let me tell you exactly what. I ended up joining university for engineering of all things. Not very creative, I know. And another 6 months went by. I was doing everything students do, partying, socializing, drinking, going out, and studying when I could. I thought there's no way I could build something creative alongside this. How could I balance it? Let me wait until I've got my degree and then I'll have all the time in the world to focus on my creative passions. Let me just collect inspiration in the meantime. That thought didn't last long because I'm sure like many of you, I felt so creatively sapped by university that I felt like I had no choice but to start something else, but to focus my time on something other than that. But I remembered that I had to do something different. I couldn't just do the same thing again and again and try to go viral. I had to make something that would actually enrich me creatively. That's when I listened to the podcast that changed my life. I listened to Kanye and he wasn't just talking about music. He was talking about building schools, designing cities, planning energy systems, designing shoes, all at once. And despite everything that went down with him after the episode aired, I had never seen him talk in so much color, so much life. Because to him, it wasn't about balance. It was something else entirely that powered him. And I had to find out what it was. What was making him so creatively passionate that he could do all these things at once. And that's when I saw so many people around me delaying building something for years until they finally get the chance to focus on their creativity. And then they wondered why they have no ideas left, why no one resonates with what they say, why they no longer have the energy to build anything. Because when they do put effort into their creativity, it's shallow, it's surface level. They focus on just one thing at a time. And I think you might feel the same because you're not being a paradox. Now, what on earth do I mean by that? I'm not trying to sound cryptic or anything, but this is the one shift that changed my life. Think about all the creators you resonate with the most. Tyler the Creator, he's not just a rapper, he's a producer, fashion designer, creative director. Each thing he does fuels the rest to give him his own persona. Rick Rubin, he's a music producer, but also a philosopher, meditator, writer. His music taste comes from his spiritual practice. Casey Neistat, he's a filmmaker, entrepreneur, and a storyteller. His business mind literally makes his films better, and his films, they make his business better. Even someone like Mr. Beast, he's a master YouTuber, philanthropist, and a brand builder. But he's not someone who's just good at YouTube, he's good at all these things and more. The people who actually stand out in this world, they aren't specialists, they're polymaths, they're paradoxes. So what does this actually mean for you? Being a paradox means you can try at and be good at multiple things, skills, niches all at once. You can be a gym rat who writes poetry. You can be a musician that studies philosophy. You can be an astrophysicist that paints. In my case, I didn't want to just be someone who went viral. I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to care about the words that went onto my scripts. I wanted to learn more about filmography so my videos could look beautiful. I wanted to really dive deep into the skill of editing so I could package it all into a premium product. And most importantly, I wanted to build a brand, an aesthetic, a whole world that my audience feels like they're a part of. All while I was, and I still am, an engineering student. You don't have to let yourself be limited by one task or one goal at a time. And I haven't even gotten to the best part. Once you become a whole artist, not just a content creator, but someone who's a true creative, a paradox as I call it, every single piece of your puzzle is found and they all fit together better. When I started writing, it helped me think more visually. And when I started filming, it helped me think more in terms of stories. When I started editing, it taught me how my visuals can evoke emotion. They can make people feel something. So the brand started building itself. All I was doing was following each of my interests. Even studying engineering helped. It taught me about systems. It taught me how to think in frameworks. Each thing I did just made the other things better. And that's what being a paradox does. It doesn't dilute you, it compounds you. But let me tell you this, you can't be a paradox if you don't do this one thing first. So many people don't do this and they wonder where their time goes. Wonder how it's already 2 months into 2026, the year they said was going to be the one, and they've still made no progress. Rick Rubin talks about it in one of my favorite books, The Creative Act. You have to be okay with silence. Every moment where you're not creating, you need to let your mind be idle. You need it to be quiet there so your mind can ideate, so it can recover and go on to the next thing. You can't live like a creative and scroll for 4 hours a day. That's unfortunately not part of the paradox. You need to go on walks without your headphones, shower without your speaker, work out without a phone. Meditate and cut out all your distractions. Because if there's one thing that could really hold you back in this beautiful journey of being a paradox, it's your inability to let your mind breathe. It's capable of so much more than you think when you stop stuffing it with unnecessary filler. Most people won't be okay with that step. They can't live without their phone or just sit in silence for half an hour. But if you're watching this, I want to trust that you're willing to do what it takes. That you're willing to become an artist and not just a content creator that gets forgotten after the 5th video. So let me recap what we've just covered. You don't have to pick one thing. You can be a paradox. You need to be a paradox. And that means doing multiple things all at once and letting them fuel each other, to stop limiting yourself, to stop categorizing yourself, to let each skill you have compound the others. But you can't do this without some silence, without letting your mind breathe, without being strict about being a creative and a creative only. So here's what I want you to do today. Pick one thing that you've been putting off all week, all month, all year, and just start it today, alongside all your other priorities, and you'll find that hour, trust me, because you'll be surprised how much time you have when you just put the phone away, when you go on a walk without your headphones, or you sit in the shower without a speaker, because that's where the magic happens. If you do this, if you dedicate your life to being a paradox, I promise you, not only will the ideas come, the results will as well, because you'll become someone unforgettable. And if you don't want to be on this journey alone, or if you're ready to take it to the next step, to build a brand that people actually can't forget, I'm building a community for creatives just like you, so stay tuned. My name is Aurif, and I hope you make something today.